my favorite things just about getting to know you is being surprised by all the things that have happened in your life. And so I would love for you to share with everybody just what was your early life like? Like, where did it start?
Yeah. So it's funny because I talk about being from Colombia kind of here and there on my blog, but anytime I post it in like my stories, even yesterday, I have a tattoo on my side that's the coordinates to where I was born in Bogota. And so people were asking about it. And when I said what it was, they're like, what? You're from Colombia? Like, they have no idea. It's even though I talk about it. So I was born in Bogota, Colombia. My dad was in the military there and met my mom, who's like a local Colombian lady. And they met, had me. We lived there, I think, till I was about 2 years old. And then we moved to Washington, D.C., and I lived there with them till I was 5. And then when they got divorced, we moved to Washington State.
Okay. And your dad was in the Colombian military or the U.S. military?
He was in the Marines. So he was on embassy duty in, I think for the U.S. Embassy, I guess, in Bogota.
Yeah. So probably early life Colombia you have in pictures and all of that. Do you make it back down there?
Oh my gosh. I haven't been back since I was 5, which is really horrible and embarrassing to say, kind of, because all of my all my mom's side of the family is still there. And I really want to make it back. I was fluent when I was younger, and I feel like I want to be fluent again before I go back down, because I want to be able to really communicate with my family and, I don't know, just be able to like have the full experience,
So you moved with your parents, then
Yeah.
you said first to DC?
Yeah, Washington, D.C., just outside Arlington, Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah. And what did your parents do while you were there?
So my dad is like super entrepreneurial. He's had started like so many different things, and he had a flower business that he ran with one of his friends there. And I remember when I was little, I used to ride in the back. He'd have his whole truck full of flowers, and I would ride in the back of his car or his truck, and we'd deliver flowers through the night. And it was, I think that's where my love of flowers actually really started, is because I remember the smell so well. Like, he had tons of roses especially, and so I can just like, that smell is so like sentimental to me.
Well, yeah, it has such meaning to your life. I'm sure you were the kid then who knew like what all the flowers were, and
I wish. Now I'm like, what flower is this? But I mean, yeah, it's cool, like a special memory for me for sure.
So from Columbia to DC, and then you mentioned then moving to Washington.
Yeah, so when my parents like weren't totally sure what was going to happen, and my dad went to visit his family in Port Angeles. Everyone knows it from Twilight, like, the city that she goes to. So all of my dad's side of the family was there, and we went to visit, and we kind of just didn't come back. They decided it wasn't going to work, and I stayed with my dad there, and we lived with my aunt. We had like no money, and we're just like really starting over. And my uncle, after a little bit, let us live in one of his houses because he was like a real estate developer or something. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, we lived in their place, and it was kind of me and my dad for a little bit. So
it's so nice that you were able to be surrounded by family, especially moving to a new place, and
yeah.
I'm sure new dynamics too between father and daughter. How old were you at this time?
I think like 4. I think I was 4 because I think my dad got remarried at like 5.5. So okay. I think I was like 4. Yeah.
Okay. So did y'all stay in Washington for a while?
Yeah, we were there from when I was like 4 or 5 till 8th grade. And then in 8th grade we moved to Montana.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Okay, what did you do in Montana?
That's where my stepmom's family was from. It seems like we kind of follow family now that I'm like saying this out loud. My dad started he started another business, which was developing housing for low-income families. And so they had more business in Montana, and so he expanded to there. And so we moved there, and I had been going to like a private Christian school. And then when we moved, I went to a public school, and I was like so excited for high school and a whole new
this
world.
was like before or after your 8th grade year that you guys moved?
My freshman year, 9th grade, is when we moved.
You started a new state, new school, public school.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember growing up, like I used to watch TV. I went to public school, but I used to watch TV shows, and it'd be like private school and what private school life was like. And so growing up, I remember like Cruel Intentions, and she's like in private school, and there's the cute boy in this privileged life. And then you watch other shows about what it's like to go to public school and how you get to be with all the boys and all that. Was that kind of the reality that you experienced?
No, I mean, like we didn't have uniforms. It wasn't like, it was more like a small little Christian school. Like, you know how in different grades there's multiple teachers for each grade? It was like one teacher, and our classes were like 20, 25. So it was like a smaller environment, you know, like everyone knew everyone really well, and yeah, like that sort of thing.
Okay, so when you got to go to, what made you excited about getting to go to public school in Montana?
Oh, that's a great question. I was just excited for a change, you know, and my cousin, like, meet new people, and like I was also a huge tomboy growing up, and so they had like tryouts for the basketball team in the summer, and I met like a ton of people, like girls there, like our team, and we all became like super close really fast. And so yeah, I was just like excited for my new friend group and basketball and like all of that.
Yeah, it's a chance to, I think, you know, growing up, you think of high school as like, this is who I'm going to become. Like you watch Saved by the Bell or something, and you see like Lisa Turtle, and you're like, I might have a perm too.
Yes.
So you mentioned being a tomboy. That's so funny because I'm sitting here with you now in this beautiful lace shirt and these beautiful pastel colors, and people love the things that you wear. So Roots is a tomboy up through high school even.
Oh, I mean, like I think it was halfway through my freshman year before I only wore Nike, Adidas, Reebok, like the hugest tomboy all growing up.